Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, let Daddy do this video. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I've got a little video for you, and I think it's going to be a cool one. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So this is going to be 5 discs that I think anyone should try, but also based towards beginners or people that are kind of new to the sport. But I'm also going to give you the recommendations from RPM discs that I think would be the closest to those discs. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So just to start things off, I always think that everyone should have a good, like, neutral to understable putter, whether it be for throwing or putting, whichever way. It needs to be in base plastic, but it's going to be preference whether you want a bead or a no bead. But for a non-RPM disc, I'm going to recommend the Pure. This is a 0 medium. This is actually out of my wife's bag, so it's got some good flex to it. I can't remember what the flight numbers are on a Pure. This one doesn't have them on there, but I'll put them on the screen somewhere. This is a great throwing putter. Once they start beating in, they do get pretty understable, but straight out the box, they're super straight, and if you put them on anhyzer at all, they're gonna turn. So great disc. But to match this disc, if you wanted to try something from RPM, I would recommend the Tui. This is actually a beaded putter, so that's the difference between the Pure and the Tui. This is a 3-4 -1 and a plus 0.5 fade. So this is super straight to understable. This is a really good hyzer flip disc for me. That hyzer flips then turns over. It'll go straight, then turns over. If you get it in like a premium plastic, you'll get a touch more stability out of it, but not a ton. But this is a really nice glidey, super glidey putter. It's worth the try. So there's you something on the Understable putter slot from RPM, and another disc that I would recommend you to try if it's not going to be RPM. There you go. So just like the Understable putter, I'm always going to recommend you have another mold in your bag, which is going to be a stable to overstable putter. Some people like to putt with a more overstable putter. I'm more in the neutral to slightly stable putting, but this is going to be an overstable thrower. So I would recommend a premium plastic Envy. The premium plastic Envies are pretty overstable. This is a 3302. If you get it in a base plastic, I think that goes to like a 3301. They actually changed the number on their base plastic, so they beat in and they're a lot straighter. This is a great throwing putter. It is beadless, or if you want to call that a bead, it's super small. Can't hardly tell, but a great throwing putter. So then, on the other side of that, for the RPM disc, I will be recommending, it is the Takapoo. This is their newest putter. It is a 2302, so it's a little bit slower than a Envy. Very similar in rim profile, maybe just a touch deeper, but in general, this is the putter I throw the most from RPM, is the Takapoo. It's not quite as overstable as an Envy, but it is in the premium plastic. You can get overstable flights out of it. It's a great versatile disc. So you can get it in base plastics and it'll beat in to be a little bit straighter, even hyzer flip to straight. But the premium ones are pretty stable, not quite as much as an Envy, but this would be the closest thing for you. And with the lower arm speed, this will probably have enough stability to make up for that. But it's a great disc. Look how pretty this one is. This is their platinum plastic bottom stamp. Great throwing putter. This one's actually pretty overstable. This one I've been throwing this one for a while, so they'll get the job done. So I recommend the Takapoo from RPM, or trying out an Envy from MVP or Axiom, I believe. Yeah, it's Axiom. Try that out if you don't want to try RPM, but I do recommend you trying them. They feel really nice. Good plastic. All right, so you're still with me here. Thank you. But the next slot that I'm going to recommend out of these discs is an approach disc. It's a utility shot that you need, and sometimes it's not even a utility shot for people. It's a shot that people just really are comfortable with throwing. I am kind of one of those people. I like throwing little approach forehand shots with slower discs. What I'm going to recommend right here, I've got 2 discs for this slot actually that are not RPM, and that's because approach discs can really come down to feel. So you've got one side of people that like them to be one way and one side that like them to be another. So I'm going to give you those 2 options than what RPM offers. So my first recommendation, this is a yarn. Please don't make fun of me. Yarn. I call it a yarn, but I think there's a slightly different pronunciation with this A here. This is a 4.5 303. So pretty much your general approach disc numbers. That one you can see has been used. This is in K3. If you want a really overstable version of it, I would go K1. They are really nice. Find you a super flat, almost puddle top. Very nice. They're on the slower side. They're not as slow as a zone quite. It's in between probably like a 4 and a 5 speed. But they're really controllable. This base plastic's really controllable for forehands. They're good wind fighters. So on the other side of that is going to be this type of disc here, the A3 from Prodigy. It's beaded here, so it's more on the mid-range side of things than it is this. This is a slower version, and you've got these that are a little bit quicker. But when I was on the street team, I threw this a lot. This was they had just a few approach discs, and they're this more fast. So this is really overstable. And there's going to be people that stay on this side that really like this feel. I mean, there's other discs kind of like it that have this bead, and it's more like a mid-range. The Justice is one that's kind of like that. It's way more overstable, but you could try an A3 or something like a Zone or a Yarn here. I like the Yarn. It's really nice. These are the 2 I would recommend you trying out to see what you like the feel first, if it's not going to be an RPM disc. Now on the RPM side of things, you've got basically one approach disc that you can choose to try out, and it is on that A3 line. So here's the disc here. This is the Kia, and I believe the numbers for this disc are going to be like a 4303 or something, or like a 4304 or something like that. It's very overstable, but let me show you side by side with an A3. So there's the A3, there's the Kia. So the difference is the nose of the disc. The A3 is slightly thinner, but the shape of them are very, very similar. There's a flat nose with a bead, flat nose with a bead, and fun fact, both of these do whistle when you throw them. So this is a super overstable and reliable disc you can try out. They also have it in base plastic, so if you do end up liking it from RPM and you want to get maybe a straighter flight, something that you can beat in, this is a base plastic, super soft, a soft flexi version. It's going to get a lot straighter, beat in a lot quicker, but this is the one I'd recommend. I've been throwing it quite a bit here lately, so I bagged both a slow approach disc and this one for a little bit different shots, a little bit skippier on this type of disc than it would be something like a Yarn or a Zone. So that would be my recommendation from RPM, is to try out this Kia in a premium plastic if you want something super overstable, base plastic if you want something you can beat in that will just kind of flip up and get a little bit more gentle of a hyzer. So there's those on the approach disc side. So now moving on to an actual mid-range here. We have a disc that I used to bag quite a bit, and it is nice. And keep in mind, these are discs that I'm looking at more of entry into the game, or somebody that's fairly experienced, maybe not a huge arm, but they are usable for people with big arms anyways. But from Mint Discs, I would recommend the Mustang here. It is a very, very comfortable mid-range in hand. I threw these for a while. They are very straight. You can get them that are slightly stable, but this one, when I was throwing it for a while, it was mainly just like it flipped up to straight. I could throw it on anhyzer. I could get it to hold the anhyzer the whole way. It is a very workable mid-range. So this is really nice. Can't recommend it anymore. It's just a solid mid. It fits the specifications for me in mids, which is having a comfortable rim that isn't like super scoopy and sharp, very smooth. So very nice disc, the Mustang. Now on RPM side, I will just go ahead and say there's not really a mid that's going to fit that exact flight or slot. But what I am going to recommend is the P Waka Waka mid-range here. Now I'm trying to remember the numbers because they're not on this. I think it's like a 6.6 -3.1 or something. It's an understable mid. But here's the rim profiles. The P Waka Waka is just a tad bit faster, so Mustang might be like a 5-speed or something. These are almost borderline fast fairways, or I mean slow fairways. But this is a really great entry-level mid-range, even for experienced players or people with good power. If you've got good angle control, this is going to be a great disc. I use this for low-power hyzer flips that will go up, go straight, get drift to the right, and pretty much never come back. Or if I want to, I can throw them on a big anhyzer up into the sky, get them to ride to the right forever. This was, for a while, this was the mid-range I threw the farthest I'd ever thrown a mid. I think I threw it like 360 feet or something like that, which was pretty insane for me. I was stunned in my review. I might have the video that I can post up, but the P Waka Waka, like I said, it's not going to be exactly the same type of flight, but it is a really great mid for you to try from RPM. But if you don't want that, an uplink is very similar as well, but I want to stay with the Mustang as a recommendation in general. If you don't go RPM, try this out though. Try it. I think you'll like it. Okay, and for the last slot, I am going to recommend a Fairway. There was tons that I could have chose, but I chose one that's from my wife's bag. Again, it is a very nice disc, and it's probably the closest that I can think of that would match RPMs. So it is a Jade. So these, I believe, are all in lightweight, but they are very nice fairways. This one is a 9.6 -2.1. Super good for hyzer flips. I know people that throw these that have kind of low arm speeds, and they get really nice flights out of them. Just a good controllable fairway. They're not too understable to where they're unusable. Maybe if you've got a huge arm, it could be a little touchy. This is a really good mid. I mean, I could see people using this for rollers, hyzer flips in the woods, hyzer flip to turnovers, whatever you want to do. I've even seen people pull out low power hyzers with these. So if you want that pushing hyzer, I'm sure you can get that to do it as long as you've got really good angle control. But it's a good disc. So on the RPM side of things, I'm going to be recommending one of my favorite discs from the RPM lineup, and that would be, of course, the Pekka Pekka. Just to compare flight numbers on these, this is a 9.5 -3.1. As the Jade, I think the only difference was maybe the glide and the turn was like a -2, but I think they're super similar. This isn't quite a -3 turn. It is probably closer to that -2. Although, if you get the right run in the Pekka Pekka, you might get one that's really, really flippy. I've got one that I bagged that's really flippy, but they've got batch numbers on them, so you can tell if you find one that's stable. As long as you get one from the same batch, it should be the same type of stability on it. But this is a really great disc. I love this disc. It's good for like flip up forehands, backhands, you name it, it's good. So this is a glow one, and it's a bat. And I'm a man, Batman. So yeah, the Pekka Pekka from RPM Discs. So I hope this video is helpful, gives you some recommendations from RPM and maybe some other companies maybe you've not tried. So Let me know if you like these type of videos, if you want me to do more that's like this. But thanks for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you again here soon. Peace.